I've had this case for about a year now. It's been my daily driver. I've had it on cross-country road trips and dropped it more times than I can count. This is the Aspen by Andar in the colorway Solar Orange. Now I also got with it a mag wallet in the same colorway, which is pretty cool. In today's video, the whole point is to share with you all what this case looks like after 12 months of daily driver use. Now, spoiler alert, it doesn't look like how it came out of the box originally, but that's kind of the point. Most reviews you see on YouTube are done after a week or two, and that's perfectly fine. I've done reviews that quickly after getting products, and it's worked out fine, and they're honest reviews. However, when you're talking about leather goods in particular, I feel like you need to give them a little bit more time for them to come into their own, which is why I've waited just about a year to make this video. Andar had sent me this case literally a year ago for my iPhone 15 Pro in order to test out and see if I liked it. Now onto the case. It's made from full grain or waxed leather, same deal with the mag wallet that you can get separately. And that means that it's real leather. It's not some sort of a fake blend, which is something that I absolutely love about leather cases and the Aspen in particular, that you can get the same exact colorway that I get for the same exact phone that I have it for. And over time, neither one of our cases will look the same. I actually think that's pretty cool. Now I got mine in the colorway Solar Orange, like I mentioned earlier, and out of the box it was this bright, beautiful color, and I loved it. And I actually loved it even more over time because now it's turned into kind of like this burnt coppery, fire roasted, fall time fire pit, whatever you want to call it. I absolutely love the shade of orange that this has become over time. All right, my favorite section, durability, because if a case cannot be durable, it has no place in my arsenal, and it probably doesn't in yours either. Now, as you know, if you've seen my other videos, I'm very rough on my phones. This phone has fallen with this case out of a roller coaster at Universal Studios, and I actually watch Chris Fix videos while I'm in the garage working on my car with my hands filled with oil and grease and brake dust and transmission fluid and you name it. And that means that this case has been exposed to all sorts of different types of chemicals and concrete at very high speeds, and it's still here to tell the tale, which I think is pretty cool. Any sort of nicks or scrapes or scratches have just been massaged or actually healed back into the case. It's almost like the case can heal itself, like it's freaking Wolverine or something, I don't know. But by now, with other leather cases I've had, there would definitely be tears and rips that you would kind of feel enticed to rip at and pull at. And then by that point, it's just time to get a new case. You can even see on the camera bezel, it's kind of weathering away. So you can definitely tell that that's real metal there. The black finish is kind of, going away, and then you can kind of see some of the exposed metal underneath. I think that's pretty cool. Again, adding to the character, and it also means that the case is doing its job. I have not one time had to have an AppleCare warranty claim made on this cell phone. I think that kind of speaks for itself in terms of the case's durability. But now let's dive a little bit further into the patina, the whole reason why you get a leather case in the first place. Now, I've had brown and black leather. I know how those patina over time, I know how they age, and I love it. But I was very skeptical when it came to this colorway. Andar gave me the option of which case color that I wanted. I wanted something out of the box, and so I chose Solar Orange. In the beginning, it was gorgeous, like I mentioned earlier. But then over time, it really started to turn into this like copper, burnt orange, beautiful color that I really can't stop looking at. Aside from the color of the case, something else that gave me pause in the initial few weeks of owning this case was the material that was used for the buttons. It's metal, okay? And it's not like some sort of little aluminum accent. It's real metal. I'm not entirely sure the type of metal, but it's very, very durable and pronounced. And I felt like it was a little bit too industrial. I felt like this case is made to be a luxurious leather good, and maybe the type of metal that was used for the bezel of the camera cutout and the buttons is a little bit counterintuitive. But I'm glad I can say I was 100% wrong. And I think I can say now that the choice of metal for these buttons and for the bezel was absolutely correct. Because when you're buying a luxurious leather good, you want quality, longevity, and durability out of that product, right? And so even if initially it maybe doesn't look as luxurious as you might have thought, the fact that it still works perfectly as it did the first day that you got it a year later is a testament to the quality of the product. However, it's not all good, okay? Let's move on to the mag wallet. So this was the biggest thing I was skeptical about. I never liked the idea of having a wallet stuck to the back of my phone. What happens if you lose your phone? You're out of luck. You have no ID. You have no credit card. You're done, right? That and the fact that if you want to carry money with you, there's nowhere to really place the money except for in your pocket on the side. I will say, however, this has kind of changed my perspective as to the things that I need with me on a daily basis and how many things I take with me when I leave the house. I really realized that I only use about 1 or 2 credit cards, and I only need my license with me when I'm driving. Other than that, between Apple Pay and my credit cards in the back of the phone, I'm pretty much covered everywhere I go. Now, there are a couple of downsides that I'll mention. The Mag Wallet is made to hold about 2 cards and your driver's license. Let's call that 3 cards that are relatively thin. However, if you use an American Express Platinum card like I do, or a Chase Sapphire Reserved or Preferred, or any other number of metal cards, that will cut down a little bit on the amount that you can hold there. And so I found that I actually end up only taking my driver's license and my Amex Platinum because that's all that fits. That works for me, but it might not work for you. So just think about that when you're deciding. Now, the other downside I'll mention is the proximity to the camera notch. The notch is pretty prominent, and so that means that whenever you're trying to slide out one of your cards or your driver's license, they're just so close to that notch that you can't fit your fingers in back there in order to get the card out pretty easily. I tend to just take the wallet off of the back of the phone. So that brings me into the biggest flaw that I found with the Mag Wallet itself, not necessarily the phone case. Picture this, you're in a very long line, everybody's frustrated. You finally make it to the front, you're about to pay for whatever it is that you're buying, and Apple Pay is down, which means now you have to retrieve one of your cards out of the Mag Wallet. You go to do that, but the tolerance is a little bit too tight, or the camera notch is a little bit too close, and so you're kind of not able to get it, and it makes it a little bit difficult to slide the wallet off because of how strong that magnet is. So what do? You have to get your card out, right? You end up peeling at one of the edges of the wallet in order to pry it away from the phone case with your nails. That may work once or twice or 3 times, but over time you start to find that you're actually cutting away and chipping away at the edges of the leather on the Mag Wallet. And so nowhere on the actual case has there been any rips or tears, but because of those scenarios, like I just mentioned right now, the actual wallet is looking a little bit dingy at the top because of how many times I've had to rip at it or pull at it with my nails in very quick fashions when there's a lot of pressure and there's a big old line in order to get to my card. That's something that I would like to see kind of edited or changed on future models, maybe giving a little bit more tolerance or a little bit more clearance between the notch and the wallet and the top of the wallet itself. That could help. I'm not really a product designer, but just an idea for the Andar folks. So after your reviews, do I still recommend this case? Absolutely. I think the case hit it out of the park and exceeded my expectations. There are a couple quirks and features for both the case and the wallet that I wish could be changed or worked on over time. And if Andar does, then I think they have a really strong winning combination. I'll leave a link for the Aspen down below as well as the Mag Wallet in the description. If you have had experience with Aspen or any other leather case, I want to know how your Patina is doing over time. What does it look like? And what case you're thinking about getting for your next phone. With all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.